Good afternoon guys, actually good evening, and welcome back in a new video on this channel. Today we're going to talk about tennis. And since Wimbledon is around the corner, I want to talk about, in my opinion, about the 4 best matches of the last 15 years at Wimbledon. Before we start with the video, I invite you to subscribe to the channel. At the moment we're at 206 subscribers, which is a very good number, but the goal is to always improve, so keep subscribing to the channel. The channel is going really well in terms of views, subscriptions, especially views, interaction of the community with the creator, and the likes is going pretty well. Also comments a little bit slower, also the subscriptions a little bit slower, so please subscribe and leave a comment. And also don't forget to share the video, because it's fundamental to share the video. If every one of you shares the video to 3 people and tells to 3 people to subscribe, and actually only even 1 maybe, subscribe to the channel, by tomorrow we're going to have 412 subscribers, which would be fantastic, and it is so easy. So please do that in order to keep the tennis up. There are a lot of great tennis channels that are burning in the last couple of years, channels that are better with me, of course, but tennis, we want tennis to improve and tennis to become more popular, and also we want to reach as much people as possible. So please subscribe, share the video. And now we're going to talk about the 4 best matches in the last 15 years of Wimbledon. Why only the last 15 years? Well, actually the final between Federer and Nadal was played before I was born. I still wasn't born yet. I was born 3 months after approximately. But I want to talk about recent matches, because for me, I know that I also didn't watch the 2008 and 2009 match live. I watched it full on YouTube. I know that I didn't watch the match live, but I watched it on YouTube, and to watch the matches from the 80s on YouTube, it's tougher. So I guess that the best possible thing is to do this, to select 3 or 4 matches. I selected 4 matches. My initial idea was to select 3, but I selected 4, just because for the thumbnail it was better, to be completely honest. So we'll have to be a little bit faster to talk about the finals. We'll talk about the key moments of those 4 matches. Actually, one is a semi-final. Let's start with the 2008 final, as I said earlier, between, of course, seed number 1 Roger Federer and seed number 2 Rafael Nadal. So I'm pretty sure that a lot of Nadal fans remember this match really well, especially one of my biggest fans, Ho Tanta Passione. I don't know if you're reading this message, but if you're reading this, drop a comment in order to I don't know what to do honestly, but if you heard what I've said, I don't know, maybe you didn't, please leave a comment by saying whatever you want. He's one of my biggest fans. He always has great words, nice words to me, and I'm really thankful for this. And also follow his channel if you have a lot of passion. He has also a lot of passion, actually. Today, as I said, let's talk about the 2008 Wimbledon final against world number 1 Federer and world number 2 Nadal at the time, of course. So the match ended, let's start with the score, with the result 6-4, 6-4, 6-7, 7-5 in tiebreak, 6-7, 8-10 in tiebreak, and 9-7 for Rafa Nadal, of course. This was an epic match. I don't have to be here in order for you to understand that it was an epic match. Already for the score, it is clear that this was a fantastic match without a doubt. Incredible match, dramatic match actually, because Federer in a certain way complained, or let's say doubted Wimbledon's choice to not postpone the match in the next day, or at least this is what I wrote in the book, in the Rogers book that I'm reading right now. And Federer actually played pretty well at the end. He didn't even play bad. In a match of this caliber, I think, and as always, in matches of this caliber, there are always 2 or 3 crucial points that decide the outcome of the match. In this case, they went to Rafa's favor. I mean, Nadal could have closed the match in the fourth, especially after that. I don't want to say unbelievable, but it suits perfectly with Rafa, so I have to say unbelievable. With an unbelievable passing shot down the line with his forehand, that was something out of this world. That passing shot was astonishing. I saw some passing shots similar to that from Rafa and from maybe also other players in other special circumstances, but in that moment, a point that could either give Federer a set point or you a match point, to pull championship point actually, to pull a shot like that is the definition of a player that is a champion. He should have closed the match in the next point, because great serve, as always, on the Rogers backhand, the left side, catastrophic, let's say. In the red thread, I will say the catastrophic left side for Roger, because that was the main point of the rivalry. Nadal with the banana forehand, which in my opinion is the best forehand I've ever seen. I prefer Rafa's forehand to Roger's forehand, even though I'm a Roger fan. But I prefer Rafa's, honestly, because he's more complete, because he has a deadly forehand offensively and a deadly forehand defensively. But I talked about that in the video where I built perfect player. Probably I'm going to do it again, considering that the quality of the video was bad, even though also the quality right now isn't fantastic, but it's improving, as you can see clearly. Now let's come back to the final, because if not, this video lasts 74 hours. And we then serve to Roger's backhand, hits a slice, approaching forehand from Nadal. He can't only put that in. He should have hit a more convincing shot than Roger hit. Possibly his best ever passing shot with his backhand. I mean, that shot was out of this world. Really. Something that leaves you stunned to see a shot like that. First set, Roger wins the set at the tiebreak. As I've said, and also the third set, the first 2 sets were not dominated, but let's say won comfortably by Nadal. Dominated is too much by Rafa, because he won the first 2 sets 6-4, 6-4. Then the third and the fourth were 2 tiebreaks won by Roger. And the last set, actually, there was a crucial game, which was the 8th game, if I remember well, where Rafa was 3-4, 15-40, and Roger had 2 break points that could have given him the chance to serve for the championship. At the end, Roger didn't convert those break points. It's a little bit the story of Federer, especially against Djokovic on big matches. It's, I think, as I've said multiple times, now the GOAT debate is starting. I would say, in my opinion, Federer is the best technical player that I've ever seen, honestly. Federer is the best player technically I've ever seen. In terms of hitting shots, is the best that I've ever seen in the last 25 years. I think it's best, in my personal opinion. But he lacks the mental strength of Djokovic and Nadal, especially against Djokovic, because Nadal dominates him on the left side. Roger had the game to beat Djokovic, and the problem was the mental side, and you know it. 3 times he lost, having 2 match points in semifinals and finals of Grand Slams. That says it all. But now let's talk about 2008 final and the 5th set. Rafa saved those 2 sets points, and then in the 15th game he broke Federer's serve. He served for the match and won the title. Federer saved another championship point, but at the end with a forehand below the net court, in the middle of the net, Roger loses the match. He says that this was the most heartbreaking match of his career, he said, if I remember well, even though it's a great competition, with the loss against Nadal, Australian Open 2009, him crying, and also the match against Djokovic, as you remember, in 2019, 4 years ago. I cried a lot. in that moment. We're already 10 minutes in, but I also want to say this thing that I've read, is that Nadal, there was the rain break in this final, so it lasted 5 hours, but the problem was that Rafa was playing with painkillers or sort of injections that were making his foot unable, so he didn't feel pain with his left foot. We know that he has a chronic problem on his left foot, and he was scared that the effects of the painkillers and the injections were going to end in the middle of the match, and all of a sudden the magic would have ended. Luckily for him and for the fans, it wasn't the case, and we had a full match between those two giants. Then let's talk about the Wimbledon 2009 final, the second match that I chose, which is the final between Roger Federer and Andy Roddick, world number 1 Federer against Andy Roddick. Well, probably also, I would say without a doubt, the most heartbreaking loss of Roddick's career. You know that Roddick only won once against Federer, and it was in their last encounter. But in the other 19 matches, because they played 20 times, if I remember well, Roger prevailed in all of them, and always seemed the superior player in their encounter. And this match wasn't an exception, because Federer, it was a really, really tight match, to say the least. I mean, a match that ends 16-14 in the 5th set. It's a really, really close match without doubt. The score says it all. And I think that also Roddick says that it was the most heartbreaking loss of his career. I mean, a strange coincidence that I've noticed about watching a video of another tennis channel called Tennistic Productions. Guys, I'm advertising other channels, but since they're tennis channels, for me it's not a problem. And this strange coincidence between Federer and Roddick and Djokovic is that Roddick lost 3 Wimbledon finals against Federer, one in 2004, one in 2005, and the other in 2009. And the most heartbreaking one was the one in 2009. Roger lost 3 Wimbledon finals to Djokovic, one in 2014, the other in 2015, and the other one in 2018. The most heartbreaking one being the one in 2018. Isn't that a coincidence? Have you ever thought about this strange coincidence? Please let me know it in the comments. But now let's talk about the final. First set, Roger wins it 7-5. What an error. First set, Roddick wins it 7-5. Roddick was playing unbelievable in this match. Second set, I think it was where Roddick lost the match. That volley, guys. It's like Federer's approaching forehand against Novak, which caused him to lose the second championship point. That forehand, that volley, guys. How on earth did Roddick miss that volley? He still doesn't know how he missed that volley. I mean, Federer was completely out of the court, and Roddick put the ball out. That was the turning point, indeed. That was the turning point, because after that, things started to change. I mean, it has a similar outcome, this match, to the Djokovic and Federer's one in 2019, because Roger won the tiebreakers, actually. Same thing goes for Djokovic, who won the breakers in 2019. Actually won for this, but overall Roddick played better, even though Roger won more points, if I remember well, in this match. Differently than Roger, who won more points against Novak than Novak won against him. And it had a pretty similar outcome. And very heartbreaking loss for the defeated player, in this case Roddick. Fourth set, Roddick bounces back 6-3. He dominates the sets, probably not, but he wins it comfortably. Then the match ends with a bad hit forehand by Roddick. That shot really bad. The ball goes to the sky, and Roger jumps of joy, of course, and all of the tension that was into his body went out finally after the ball went out, and that match was really, really extraordinary. An incredible match, an historic match actually, between these two players. They're the best match they've ever played against, in my personal opinion. I don't remember matches that come close to this one. And as I've said, the same thing goes for the 2019 match and the 2019 encounter that we're going to talk about in a few minutes. Roger was just the clutch player in this match. He was the clutch player. When the points mattered the most, he won them. When the circumstances were the toughest, he won them. This was the 7th consecutive Wimbledon final for Federer, and what an outrageous number, actually. 7 consecutive Wimbledon finals. Think about that. 7 consecutive Wimbledon finals. Unfortunately for him, he lost in the year before to Rafa, and he couldn't win the 6th consecutive Wimbledon title, which would have been a monumental achievement, even though 5 is already a monumental achievement, but 6 would have been unique. And let's see if Novak can do it, if he wins this year's Wimbledon in the next year. But before he has to win this Wimbledon, which is probably is going to happen, but we're not talking about Djokovic winning this Wimbledon or not winning it. We're going to talk about that in the live stream called Salotino del Tennis on Friday, where me, Alessio, Lorenzo, Walter and Martino, we're going to do the live stream. It's going to be probably on my channel. If the Wi-Fi doesn't allow this, it's going to be on the other guy channel. So there's going to be the video we're going to advertise this live stream. But now let's talk about the 2019-18 semi-final between the two legends, Novak Djokovic and Rafa Nadal. I would classify this as the most important win in Djokovic's career. At least I would classify this as the most important win in Djokovic's second career, let's say, because probably for Djokovic it was more important to enter in his first prime, in his first ever prime. It was the first time he was the best player in the world. So the match that turned things and made him the player that he is today, and made him play incredibly good in 2018, in 2011, was the most important match of his career probably. But this, in terms of his second prime, was fundamental, was crucial. He was already starting to play better in that Wimbledon. I invite you to watch the press conference that he gave after losing to Cecchinato at the French Open, and seeing how frustrated and upset he was in that match. After that, you may think he's out of the top 20. He lost against a nearly unknown player in the quarterfinals of a Grand Slam. The chance that I had, you would think, the chance that I had to be back finally where I belong. But he didn't give up. He played Wimbledon. He met arguably the favorite to win the tournament after Roger's elimination, because I think that in that match, Rafa was the favorite. Even though Djokovic is the best player on grass between the two, but Rafa is Rafa. And he had a fantastic form. 2017 and 2018 were two really, really good years for Rafa. But he wins in incredible fashion. I would classify this match as their best, or some of their best, possibly outrageous match between those two guys. First set 6-4 for Djokovic, he wins with a break, and second set 3-6 for Nadal. Actually, the first two sets Djokovic had 10 break opportunities, if I remember well. He could convert only 2, if I remember well, and that was his regret. At the end, it wasn't a regret because he won the match, but had he lost the match, he would have said, I won the first, I won the third, the second I had break points, how I didn't win the second. Nadal didn't play so well at the start, but in the second set he started to play better, and the third set was a turning point in my opinion. Nadal had set points, even on his serve. Nadal had set points he couldn't convert. And he had one set point, if I remember, 6-7 up, and he had that set point, which was crucial. Had he converted that, he would have won probably. And I also want to talk about one thing. I have to mention this: the circumstances the match was played in. If I remember well, the match was played with the roof closed even even on Friday, because in Wimbledon you can't go past 11 p.m. If not, the match is postponed to the next day, and it is what happened. They had only 2 hours to play because prior to them, other two guys, the other two big serves, the South African Kevin Anderson prevailed in the fifth, 26-24, against John Isner, and the match against the two big serves, ended really late because the match lasted for 6 hours or so, unless I'm mistaken. And this match lasted for more than 5 hours. It was a better match in my opinion. Two better players played, because honestly to put Djokovic and Anderson's and Isner's match instead of this one would have been a crime in my opinion, tennistically speaking, of course. And talking about this match, the roof was closed. Also in the second day, the roof was closed. Rafa complained about that because he said, and his point is right, and probably the match should have been played without the roof, because Wimbledon is an outdoor tournament. It can play indoor, it can be played indoor, only if the circumstances don't allow it to play outdoor. But the tournament is outdoor, so maybe it would have been more fair to play outdoors, but it's not an excuse, as he said. Also, Djokovic had to play indoors. So of course, Djokovic prefers to play against Rafa indoor than outdoor, without a doubt. But it's fair that Nadal had some complaints about it. Always the one that loses as the complaints, but it's like this in any realm, in any circumstance. The guy who loses usually has something more to complain than the guy who wins, without a doubt. But it's fair. I mean, it's live. It goes for everything, so it is the same for everything. Fourth set, Nadal won it, and you will think the momentum now shifted towards Rafa. That wasn't the case, or well, it was the case, but it wasn't the case it wasn't determinant for the outcome of the match at the end, because the fifth was won by Djokovic. Talking about the break, let's say the day break, did it give an advantage to Djokovic or to Nadal? I don't know it, to be honest, because the momentum shifted to Novak maybe to win the fourth, but the break between the 2 days, I don't know, maybe it gave an advantage to Djokovic, maybe to Nadal. I don't know it, to be brutally honest with you. Fourth set, it was won by Nadal, and you may think, as I said, the momentum shifted on Rafa's side. No, it wasn't the case. Well, it was the case at least, but Djokovic didn't prevail the same. I've said the same thing twice, I know it, but please forgive me for my errors. It's fair. To make mistakes, everyone makes mistakes. Then Djokovic wins 10-8. The set, Nadal saved also in the 16th game. He saved one match point with a drop shot, or 2 match points, I don't remember well, but 1 match point it was 1, if I remember well. He saved 1 match point by hitting a drop shot, a backhand drop shot down the line, winner. That's something that champions do. Drop shot that lands right on the line. How brave you must be to even think about hitting a drop shot when you are match point down. That's a different level of class, and that's the reason why Nadal is the greatest clay court player of all time, first thing, and that's why he's a legend of the game. Also, Djokovic and Federer, 2 other legends. The Big Three era, something that speaks volumes about their dominance. What speaks volumes about the dominance is the fact that they've won something like 66 or 65 Grand Slams out of the last, don't remember it specifically, 82 Grand Slams. I know, that is ridiculous. It's not that it sounds ridiculous, it's ridiculous. And at the end, Djokovic won. Why do I think that it was the most important match of Djokovic's second prime? Because Djokovic came into this Wimbledon with very low confidence, even though he played well at Queens, but he came there with low confidence. Nadal had confidence after winning French Open, but Nadal always has confidence after winning in Wimbledon, because he always wins the French Open before. So that doesn't change. What changes is that Djokovic didn't have a lot of confidence coming into the match, and it's the most important match of Djokovic's career, possibly, and in my opinion, without a doubt, the most important match of Djokovic's second prime, because he won 11 Grand Slams after this match. He won at Wimbledon, he was at 12 Grand Slams, and now he's at 23, probably 24, and maybe he's going to win even 25 or 26, we don't know it yet. We will have to see in the next years what is going to happen with Nolan. The only big three member that can still win slams, in my opinion. I don't know. Rafa the French, someone may think he has a shot. I highly doubt so, but we can never doubt Nadal. You know, if it was clipped, I would have been mocked by all the world, and it would have been fair, honestly, given what it did. But when Nadal lost the second set in the Australian Open 2022 final, in the 2022 Australian Open final, sorry for my mistake, I said, Nadal, say goodbye to the Australian Open, doing this with your hand, which is ciao, basically. You know what ciao means, even though you're not Italian. And I hope that a lot of people here are not Italian, and you're appreciating my English skills, that are improving a lot, even though I'm making some mistakes, of course. Like always, I'm human after all. And I hope that you appreciate this video. Please, if you have some corrections about English, comment and say whatever you want. I want to receive a lot of corrections. Now, let's talk about finally the 2019 final. It hurts a lot. The Djokovic's fan will remember this match really, really well, but I'm a Federer fan, so it hurts me too much, probably. Still, you don't know how much I cried after the final. I was 10 years old at the time, so you can imagine. I would have cried even at 14 right now, or at 25 in 10 years. Had I been 25 at the time. Djokovic won 7-6, 7-5 at the tiebreak, 1-6, 7-6, 7-4 at the tiebreak, 4-6, 13-12, 10-3 at the super tiebreak. Well, Djokovic and Federer played better than Djokovic knew the match, apart from the tiebreaks. Tiebreakers where Djokovic was the better player, without a doubt. He won this match with mental strength. What is really admirable by Novak is that he had the whole crowd against that was probably also obsessively chanting for Roger and hoping for Roger to win. So that's impressive, in my personal opinion. To win a Grand Slam in that fashion, hats off to Djokovic. Hats off to Djokovic, without a doubt, this was an impressive win by him. And the way he played the tiebreaks, like in this French Open, think about it, 45 points played in the tiebreaks this year, or yes, 45 points played in the tiebreakers of this year's French Open. He didn't lose any. Sorry, not he didn't lose. First of all, he didn't lose any tiebreak, but you know what is the most ridiculous thing that speaks volumes about his mental strength and about this clashness under also the creepiest circumstances? Do you know the craziest thing that comes into my mind is that he didn't hit a single unforced error. That's something that is mind-blowing. I mean, I think about it and say, are you serious? Is that even human? No, it's not human, because Djokovic isn't a human. But we know that. Now, today there is going to be the 11th question of the quiz series that I'm doing. And yesterday I literally I gave a present to all of the people that watch the quiz, because who holds the record for the most Grand Slams title won in males tennis? Djokovic. Everyone knows that. In women's tennis there were some doubts, because there are some new fans, but in men's tennis no doubts, of course, because it's Djokovic. And I said, outside of the aliens, I considered aliens Djokovic, Nadal and Federer. I said at the speed samples at 14. So read that message, because it's fantastic in my opinion. It's great. Not fantastic, it's overestimating myself in a sort of way. My skills in terms of writing in Italian, even though I'm Italian, but I'm not a master of Italian. I speak Italian well, because if I wasn't able to speak Italian well, that would be a problem. But I'm not a master of the language, of course. Now coming back to the Wimbledon 2019 final. First set, very tight. Tied from start to end. Federer had a lead, 5-3 up, and he was serving, could have gone 6-3 up, but he wasn't able to do so, and Djokovic at the end won the set in great fashion by winning 4 consecutive points, 7-5. The second set, Roger dominated. He won the set 6-1. I'm mispronouncing set because I'm speaking pretty quickly, in my opinion. And I'm also speaking pretty well considering my standards. What do you think in the comments? Do you think that I've improved since my first English video? I think that I've improved a lot, being 100% honest with you. And then in the third set, he won 7-6 and 7-4 in the tiebreak. Djokovic won that set in that way. But Roger had also a set point, 5-4 up, 34, Djokovic serving. Unless I'm mistaken, Djokovic served the 4th serve and Federer wasn't able to return that, and that's how that set point was saved by Djokovic in a very clutch way, as always. 4 serves when it matters the most, and notable falls. In the few cases, he serves second serves in the toughest moments. I mean, Djokovic's mental strength is something that has to be studied step by step, because it's, out of this world, is the greatest quality he has, without a doubt. To have a mental strength like his in tennis is a better quality than having technical shots. Of course, it's impossible to be the best player in the world by only having mental strength, not having physical and technical strength. Because if you're not able to hit the ball well, you can have all the mental strength that you want, but you will never going to be able to be the world number 1 for 388, 89 weeks, or I don't know how many weeks Djokovic was the world number 1, but nearly 400, and that's mind-blowing. And Djokovic really played fantastic. Fantastic, no. He played fantastic, he played perfectly, or semi-perfectly, in the toughest circumstances. Let's move on to the fourth set, where Federer won. It was also to break sub. Djokovic broke his serve once, but then Federer was able to break his serve. Djokovic was able to break Federer's serve. Then we move on to a fifth set. Fifth set, which was epic. Possibly one of the most epic sets Wimbledon has ever seen and the center court has ever seen. Or at least the most epic set of the last years. Djokovic won that set, as we know, and won the title 13-12 and 10-3 in the super tiebreaker. Djokovic went a break up. At the start of the fifth, he went 4-2 up. Roger hit an approaching slice, and Djokovic passed him with a backhand. With a backhand cross court, his slice wasn't deep and wasn't poisoning enough, let's say, in order to get past Djokovic's brilliant backhand, or in order to put Djokovic in a tougher position to hit that passing shot. Then Federer broke back. And a crucial point, let's move on to 5-0, Djokovic serving. 15-30, Federer Djokovic hits a drop shot, unless I'm mistaken, and Roger gets the drop shot pretty well, and Djokovic hits a dive volley. He could have gone 15-40, he had chances to break him, and it didn't happen. Then also on Federer's serve, some really tough circumstances to save. 15-30, 30-0, deuce that could have got Djokovic to having championship point, but it wasn't the case at the end. In 15th game, Djokovic serving 30 love up, 30-40 in a matter of some minutes. Djokovic hits a first serve in, Federer hits a slice, Djokovic hits an approaching forehand, and Federer hits a cross-court passing shot. Breaks, Djokovic serve in the 15th game and serves for the championship. It starts with 15 love 15, unless I'm mistaken. Then 40-15, Federer hitting an ace on 30-15. Championship points. 2 first serves in, maybe, or not. And Federer, it's a first serve, and then he tries to hit an inside forehand that goes out. Can't do on a first error when you have a championship point. He has another. And actually, Djokovic says that he was very close from losing because he expected that white serve, an out white serve in terms of instead of a serve to the tee. So he was very very close from losing in one of those two match points, but he managed to get a shot in, and then Federer hits not a great approaching forehand. It wasn't deep enough and it wasn't enough accurate. And Djokovic passes him with a forehand pretty easily. Not easy because when you're under championship point, nothing, it's easy, but for Djokovic standards, that was a pretty easy shot. Then Federer, of course, gets nervous. Federer has another break point, 11-all in the 23rd game. Yeah, that break point, guys, was really, really close from doing it. A Roger slice was centimeters away from going in, and that would have been poisoning for Djokovic. That would have been incredibly tough to deal with it. But at the end, it doesn't matter. Djokovic holds the game, and in the super tiebreaker, he dominates Federer. If we can summarize this match, we can say Federer played better the whole match, dominated half of the match, but when it mattered the most, the real Joker came and spoiled the party to the Wimbledon fans that were chanting Roger's name and that were hoping for a 9th crown at the All England Club. Well, I will end this narrative like this because I think that it ended with I don't know how to say it. It ended really, really well. This narrative, I think. Djokovic hit the same passing shot with Nadal approaching in one of the two breakpoints Rafa had to go and serve for the match in the Wimbledon 2018 semi-final that we've talked about before, but I don't remember well if I've said that Nadal had two breakpoints. I've said that, but in the second breakpoint, 30-30 up for Rafa, Nadal hits a backhand cross court, which wasn't deep enough, accurate enough, and Djokovic hits a passing shot, and it was even tougher in my opinion. And maybe Nadal should have dived in order to hit that volley. He should have done everything possible to hit that, but full credit to Djokovic with an unbelievable passing shot. Thank you very much, guys, for the support. This video was pretty long. I hope that you appreciated it. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to activate the notification bell. Leave a like, leave a comment, and share the video as much as possible. Thank you very much for all the support. And as always, I see you in the next video. Bye.